Hare Krishna. In Sri Guru Darsana, Volume 2, Chapter 23, there's a nice article that Srila Gurudeva wrote in the December 1962 issue of the Bhagavat Patrika. It's called The Call of the Himalayas to Protect the Culture of India. Srila Gurudeva stated that the devotees who are surrendered to Krishna can understand the true purports and secrets of his transcendental activities, and that those activities are boundless. Krishna is the independent master of the universe. Even Brahma, Shiva, and others, they cannot understand the deep secrets of Krishna's pastimes. It seems that the creation and destruction of the universe are considered to be opposing. However, the purpose of these two activities are one. Both is for the unlimited welfare of all. The internal purpose of subduing the demons and protecting the devotees and demigods is just one, although both actions appear to be different. Krishna says in the Gita, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam sadhanam paritranaya sadhanam vinasaya chaduskritam dharma sangstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. I appear age after age to uplift the true teachings of Dharma and to annihilate the miscreants in irreligion. I come to protect the pious, the saintly devotees, and to destroy the miscreants. Therefore I appear age after age. I come to re-establish the true principles of religion. So Krishna's true nature, his activities and the purposes behind them are understood by the surrendered souls who become self-realized. They've said that since the time of creation, the demigods who are servants of God and who act as supervisors of nature, as well as the demons who are they are the cousins of the demigods. They're both born from the same father and they have different mothers who are sisters. They're the sons of Diti and Aditi. We see from the beginning of creation that the demigods and demons are always fighting and they are continually at war. In due course, the demons are always defeated at the hands of the demigods with the help of Lord Vishnu. This is seen in our Vedic histories. At the same time, in the Vedic scriptures, it is shown that sometimes the demigods fall from their position when they disrespect their guru or forget the service of Krishna and their subordinate position of service to him. This is also a truth that is seen. Gurudeva said that, and I quote, "The fall of that person, society, or culture, it is inevitable if they are not under the goodwill of Krishna, even if they briefly show a manufactured display of grandeur. Upon earth," Gurudev said, "India is the most sacred nation. It is known as Bharat, after the great ancient king Bharat. India has been blessed since the beginning of creation with great saintly devotees who reside in that sacred land where they perform their sadhana, their spiritual activities. On earth, the snow-capped peaks of the Himalayas stand as if at the top of the world, and it is like they are waving the flag of the spiritual advancement of India. The three directions seem to wash the feet of the Himalayas as they glorify India's limitless ocean of good qualities." Gurudev said, when other countries were passing their time in a barbaric manner, lost deep in ignorance, still at that time the sun of pure knowledge and tattva and the fine culture lit up the sky of India. Gurudev said, the development of culture and civilization in the entire world is actually properly credited to India. India is like the root of civilization, the root of its culture and higher knowledge, with its languages like Sanskrit, which is the most developed language on earth, as well as the philosophy and science of India. It's very advanced. Many other cultures appropriated the teachings from India and showed them as their own without properly crediting India. And others, they created the so-called Aryan invasion theory to even more fully take credit for the wealth and culture of India, saying that actually what is known as the Vedic culture came from outside India. They had to acknowledge the traces of Indian culture in the roots of their own civilizations. So instead of crediting India, what they did is they switched it, and they said that India actually took these things from outside, from invaders. The Aryans were actually invaders into the subcontinent of India. But so this was just a way for them to take credit for the spiritual wealth of India, and they tried to undermine the faith of the Indian population in their own culture. Gurudev said that the root cause of keeping the head of India high and the face of India beautiful is the spiritual wealth and culture and civility of the ancient seers of the absolute truth. This is the cause of our honor in the past and will be in the future as well as it is in present. Gurudev said, though, that our spiritual wealth is being plundered again and again, especially by those who follow the path of the demons and who have become barbaric betrayers of faith. Gurudev said they are fiercely attacking the true culture of Bharat. Gurudev emphatically declared that if we are unsuccessful in protecting the wealth of India, the land of the austerities of the sages, then the result will be very catastrophic, not only for India, but for refined society all over the world. Gurudev said that aside from few uncultured groups, the majority of people throughout the world, in different nations and cultures and classes, they are leaving behind small differences and are uniting to clash with the demonic forces. Gurudev, in this article, he didn't specifically speak of what demonic forces he was referring to. He doesn't specifically mention what kind of radical demonic groups are assaulting the spiritual culture of the world. But he says that the majority of the people in different countries and sects and cultures, they are leaving behind small differences and are uniting to clash with the demonic forces. Gurudev said that my request does not only extend to Indians, but to all good-natured people blessed with spiritual qualities. Gurudev said, may we all unite under the shelter of God, and let us compel the demonic forces into following the path of righteousness. He said, where there is Dharma, there is Krishna, and where there is Krishna, there is victory. Thus, the Himalayas, it is like they are calling us to protect our spiritual culture. Gurudev wrote this article in Hindi in the December 1962 issue of the Patrika, which translated for Sri Guru Darsana. If you want to see the original article, you can look at the Bhagavat Patrikas online and read them there if you know Hindi and can read Devanagari. We carefully translated these articles and checked them for fidelity before publishing them in Sri Guru Darsana. We see after the independence of India in 1947, India faced many difficulties. There were many agitators who, like mostly radical proponents of secularism, who wanted to minimize, reduce, or remove what is actually Sanatan Dharma, or no, is generally known as Hinduism, but Hinduism has become mixed and diluted. But the real root of this is Sanatan Dharma, eternal truth, eternal religion, eternal Dharma. But at the same time, they were propagating the dharmas of like Christianity and Islam, which were minorities in India but aren't minorities worldwide by any extent. The majorities. Also, we see the government was pushing a red revolution in India. The government was trying to subsidize the beef industry, wanting to feed poor villagers with red meat, and feeding them at the same time they would be converting them to their own religion. Many Hindus were converted away from their dharma they would turn them away from a vegetarian diet, preach against calling their own religion full of suspicion and things like that. Many politicians thought that for India to progress, they had to give up spiritual and religious pursuits in favor of materialism and secularism, as if they're not compatible. Gurudeva would warn the people, and he encouraged them, don't neglect your spiritual side, don't neglect your spiritual wealth. Those who are bereft of respect for the soul and soul knowledge create many kinds of machines and weapons, thinking they are advancing human civilization. And by this, atheistic, materialistic societies just bring about ultimately their own destruction. When Gurudev wrote this article, the Sino-Indian War was being fought. It had just been fought at 14,000 feet in the Himalayas, so could have been connected to this. It is said the conditions were so harsh that more soldier casualties occurred from freezing instead of large-scale combat. This was like a skirmish, a small few battles in a war that only went on for like a month. And after that, Gurudev published this call for Indians to protect their dharma. And he warned that a nation that turns away from God will meet with destruction. And the greatest danger for a dharmic, religious nation is the internal, like revolutionaries that act against spiritual culture, religious culture, and spread materialism and secularism. And they preach against the ancient Sanatan Dharma. Dharma rakshita rakshita. It is said that Dharma protects its protectors. In his article, Gurudev said how we should use our intelligence, use our strength to protect Dharma instead of letting it be annihilated or covered over. True Dharma can never be destroyed. It can be covered or can become unmanifest. It can become lost for some time. In the Gita, Krishna says, Evang parampara praptam emang rajarsa vidyu. So kalaneha nahata yogo nasta parantapa. That this spiritual knowledge is passed down from one generation to another in disciplic succession from one enlightened soul to another. But in due course of time it becomes lost. Therefore Krishna comes again to re-establish it. Thus, we should be very determined to carry forward the torch of true Sanatan Dharma from one generation to the next. In this way, we can serve Sri Krishna's will and act as his agent or devotee. But through complacency, we just become an agent of Maya. Thank you for your time.